All right. So, you know that feeling that that slight worry you might have about, AI maybe changing your career prospects.
Yeah.
It's something that a lot of us are thinking about these days. But what if we flicked that around a bit?
Okay.
What if that same AI that's causing all that uncertainty could actually be the most powerful tool to help you figure out your next steps?
Right.
That's what we're really diving deep into today.
Yeah.
We've got some super interesting perspectives from our sources this week, all looking at what it's actually like to lose a job because of AI.
Mm-hmm.
But even more importantly, we've got a step-by-step, almost like a guide
Okay.
to help you get back on your feet and even thrive in this new world by using AI in a really strategic way.
Interesting.
So think of this deep dive as your go-to, your friendly resource for taking something that could be a real challenge and turning it into a real opportunity.
I think what's so fascinating, even just from that introduction,
Yeah.
is that twist, right? It's the thing that's causing this disruption in the first place, this force that can also be the key to getting back on track.
Yeah.
And the sources we've looked at really, really emphasize this kind of dual nature of AI.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the initial shock either. It's about understanding the emotional and practical side of things.
Right.
But then having this really clear, actionable path forward so you can take control.
Yeah, yeah.
So this deep dive is all about going from feeling uncertain to feeling empowered.
Okay.
To having a structured way to understand this shift.
Okay.
To pinpoint your strengths in this new context.
Yeah.
And to see the real concrete ways that AI can be an advantage for you.
Okay, so let's jump right into that initial phase then, right after it happens.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, losing a job is never fun, no matter how it happens.
Yeah.
But when AI is the reason it can feel like a much bigger upheaval.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And our sources, I think, really, really emphasize this need to acknowledge that it's not just about income, right? It's woven into your whole life.
Yeah.
It's your routine, your sense of who you are professionally, the connections you have with colleagues,
right,
and even your sense of purpose.
Yeah.
It's a major life transition.
And with that, comes just this range of emotions.
Yeah.
The material we looked at really emphasizes that whatever you might be feeling,
Right.
from anger and a little bit of fear to confusion to sadness. There might even be a sense of betrayal or that kind of unsettling feeling that you're being pushed aside or becoming outdated.
Yeah.
And it's important not to try and ignore that.
Right, absolutely. Trying to bottle those feelings up, trying to ignore them. It really isn't a helpful strategy in the long run.
Yeah.
The guidance is to actually allow yourself to feel them, to process those emotions in a healthy way. Talking things through with people you trust, your friends, family, maybe you're even a therapist or counselor, can be incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
And some people find that keeping a journal can be a really effective way to kind of sort through those thoughts and emotions too.
Yeah, that's a good point. One thing that really jumped out at me from the sources we looked at was this idea of not blaming yourself.
Right.
Which is so easy to do in that situation.
It is.
The kind of what could I have done differently or thinking that you should have seen it coming.
Yeah.
But the sources really, really highlight that when it comes to AI, job displacement often is a much broader, systemic change that's happening.
Right.
It's this technological wave that's reshaping whole industries, and it's really not a reflection of your individual performance.
Yeah, you were likely doing your job well.
Yeah.
Within the way things were set up, the framework that existed before this shift happened.
Right.
Before this technological waves came along.
And that kind of leads into something else that they really stress too, which is separating your sense of self-worth from your actual job title.
Absolutely.
And I know that's often much easier said than done.
It is.
But it's a really important step in maintaining your self-esteem during this time.
It is. Your value as a person, that fundamental worth, that doesn't go away when a job ends.
Yeah.
It's something that's always there.
So while you're trying to work through those initial emotions, there are also some very like immediate practical things
Right.
that need attention. Like, you know, real world stuff.
Right.
So let's talk about how to sort that out.
Yeah, and the sources are very clear on this. They say, prioritize the practical stuff right away.
Okay.
Don't let it sit. So first, you really need to understand the details of your severance package.
Okay.
What's actually included in it?
Mm-hmm.
Are there ongoing benefits like health coverage? What about COBRA?
Yeah.
Do you know about your eligibility for unemployment benefits?
Yeah.
Have you filed those claims?
Right.
You really need to do that immediately. Getting all of these details taken care of can really help reduce that initial financial anxiety.
Yeah, it's almost like a checklist.
Yeah,
to work through to get that, you know, that initial wave of panic to subside a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And then alongside that, it's also about taking a really honest look at your finances, isn't it?
Yeah. Creating a realistic budget is really essential.
Okay.
It's time to take stock of that severance package we talked about, any potential unemployment benefits you might be getting, and your savings.
Yeah.
Then you really need to distinguish between spending that's absolutely essential and spending that's more optional.
Right.
This is not about deprivations. It's about taking control of your financial situation during this transition.
It's interesting also that they emphasize taking care of your physical health.
Yes.
During this time.
Yes.
Which is something that can easily, you know, fall by the wayside.
It really can. Stress can really take a toll on your physical well-being.
Yeah.
So prioritizing sleep, making sure you try to stick to a regular sleep schedule is super important.
Definitely.
Be mindful of what you're eating. Try to avoid just reaching for the comfort food.
Yeah.
And try to stick to balanced meals.
Right.
And exercise, even if it's just a daily walk, can be a really effective way to relieve stress and boost your mood.
Yeah. It's all about, like, you know, keeping up those healthy habits so you don't spiral. And finally, I mean, there's that sudden change in your daily routine.
Right.
That can be pretty disorienting.
Oh, it can. It can be really, really unsettling to suddenly not have that structure to your day.
So the sources talk about, like, really actively trying to create a new routine.
Yeah, absolutely. Because losing your job takes away that framework.
Yeah.
So establishing a new simple routine, even just setting a wake-up time.
Okay.
Allocating specific times to things like job searching or learning new skills and scheduling, you know, exercise and meals can really help prevent you from feeling lost.
Yeah.
And help you maintain a sense of momentum and purpose.
Okay, so you've started working through those initial feelings.
Okay.
You've got those practicalities kind of more or less under control. What comes next? What's the next step? Because the sources, they talk about assessment and strategy.
Yes.
Like making that pivot.
Right. This is where the proactive planning really kicks in.
Okay.
It's about taking stock of where you are and figuring out those next steps in this evolving job landscape that's being shaped by AI.
Right.
And the first crucial part of this is an honest and really focused assessment of your skills.
Yeah. And we're not talking about just a quick mental, you know, note here.
Boy.
This is a little more in depth.
This is a much more comprehensive inventory. Think back through all your previous roles.
Okay.
Not just the most recent one.
Right.
And make a list. Make a list of your technical skills.
Okay.
But also, and this is really important, those soft skills.
Right.
Things like communication, teamwork, how you approach problem solving.
Right. Yeah.
And don't forget about any specific knowledge you have in a particular industry or any unique experiences you've gained.
Okay.
It's all valuable.
And then the key is to try and figure out which of those skills are still valuable.
Exactly.
Or maybe even more valuable.
Yeah.
In this world where AI is playing a bigger and bigger role.
Exactly. And these are your transferable skills.
Okay.
So think about things like your ability to think critically. Your creativity, how effectively you communicate,
right?
Your leadership qualities, your experience in managing projects,
right?
How you build and manage client relationships, your strategic thinking, and even your emotional intelligence.
Right.
These are all incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
And importantly, they're areas where AI currently has has limitations.
Yeah.
It can't fully replicate those human capabilities.
The sources also talk about analyzing what they call the AI impact
Yes.
on your previous role.
Right.
Which seems like a really insightful way to kind of think about it.
It is. Really sit down and think about what specific tasks in that previous role were actually taken over by AI.
Okay.
What tasks were still being done by people?
Right.
And were there any new tasks that emerged
Yeah.
that were directly related to working with or managing AI tools
Right.
right before your job changed?
Yeah, yeah.
Really understanding the specifics of how AI impacted your previous job
Okay.
gives you these valuable clues
Yeah.
about the shifting demands in your field.
And then that lends to this idea of identifying your human edge.
Yes.
Like what can you do that AI really struggles with?
Right, precisely.
Yeah.
This is about recognizing those uniquely human capabilities.
Okay.
So things like making those nuanced judgments in really complex situations, showing empathy in your human interactions,
Right.
applying ethical reasoning, building trust with others, true originality, genuine creativity,
Right.
being able to navigate situations where things aren't clear-cut,
Yeah.
and even, physical dexterity in certain professions.
Yeah.
These are all examples of your human edge.
All right. So you've got a better handle on your skills.
Okay.
You've sort of figured out where AI fits into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's time to look outward at the job market itself.
Right.
But through this AI informed lens.
Yeah. This market research has to be strategic.
Okay.
It's about understanding how AI is currently changing your industry.
Yeah.
And any related fields,
Yeah.
Where the new roles,
Yeah.
what kinds of jobs are popping up, which roles are being augmented by AI.
Right.
Meaning they still need that human expertise, but they require a new set of skills
Yeah.
for working with AI.
And the sources, they actually differentiate between what they call AI leveraged and
Yes.
AI pioneered roles.
Right.
So can you break that down? Like what's the difference between those two?
Sure. Think of AI leveraged roles as jobs where AI tools are becoming like really essential to how the work gets done.
Okay.
And really kind of like enhancing human capabilities.
Okay.
So for example, a data analyst might use AI to really quickly clean and process these huge data sets.
Right.
And that frees them up to focus on the more strategic work.
Yeah.
Like interpreting the results.
All right.
Or providing insights.
Okay.
Or a marketing professional might use AI to generate like an initial draft of some content.
Okay.
But then they can focus their expertise on really refining the message.
Okay.
And making sure it aligns with the brand.
Right.
So the core human skill is still there.
Yeah.
But it's being amplified by the AI.
It's like having a super powerful assistant
Yeah, exactly.
to help you do the more important stuff.
Exactly.
Okay, and then AI pioneered roles, those are completely new jobs. Yeah. That only exist because of AI.
Exactly. These are roles that they wouldn't be here.
Right.
If it weren't for the development and implementation of AI.
Right.
So think about a prompt engineer.
Mm-hmm.
This is someone who specializes in crafting really effective prompts.
Okay.
To get the output that they want from these large language models.
Yeah.
Or an AI trainer, someone who works on fine-tuning these AI models.
Okay.
To make sure they're performing as they should.
Okay.
Some other examples include AI ethics officers, machine learning engineers,
right,
AI product managers, and AI implementation specialists.
Okay, so you've got this clear picture of your skills and the way the job market is changing.
Right.
How do you actually decide what kind of roles to go for?
Right.
How do you define your target, as they say?
Yeah, and this is where that real focus we talked about before becomes so important.
Right.
It's based on that self-assessment that we talked about.
Yeah.
And that market research.
Right.
You need to identify maybe 1 to 3 specific types of roles or areas that you're really interested in that seem like a really good fit for your skills.
Right.
And what the market is looking for.
Yeah.
And the key here is to avoid those really broad, vague goals like, oh, I want to work in AI.
Right.
Instead, you need to get specific.
Okay.
So, for example, You might decide, I want to use my project management skills to become an AI implementation specialist within healthcare.
Okay.
Or I want to combine my writing with learning prompt engineering to become an AI content strategist.
Right, right.
Having that focused approach
Yeah.
is going to really help you. You can really direct your energy.
Okay.
And it'll make that learning process
Yeah.
and your job search
Right.
so much more effective.
So it's not just about, okay, I need to learn everything about AI.
No.
It's about picking a lane
Exactly.
and going down it.
Exactly.
Okay. So once you've got those target roles
Right.
kind of in mind,
Mm-hmm.
the next phase is about getting the necessary skills.
Right.
But again, in a very targeted way.
Exactly. You don't need to learn everything into the sun.
Right.
Once you have those target roles in mind, you can pinpoint the specific gaps that you need to fill.
Right.
So for each of those roles, what are you missing?
Yeah.
What do you need to know? Is it familiarity with specific AI tools?
Mm-hmm.
A basic understanding of machine learning principles?
Right.
Expertise in crafting those effective prompts?
Right.
Skills in analyzing data?
Yeah.
Or an understanding of the ethical considerations surrounding AI?
Okay, so then you need to be strategic about where you acquire those skills.
Yes.
Because I mean the internet is full of learning resources.
Oh, it's overwhelming. So targeted selection is key.
Right.
Online learning platforms like Coursera, edX, Udacity, LinkedIn Learning,
Mm-hmm.
they all offer these huge varieties of courses,
Right.
specifically on AI tools,
Yeah.
fundamental concepts, prompt engineering techniques,
Mm-hmm.
and data science that's relevant to different industries.
Okay, so look for the reputable providers.
Yeah.
The courses that really directly address the skills that you've identified
Absolutely.
for your target roles.
Exactly.
Now, what about professional certifications? Are those worth considering?
Yeah, in some cases, absolutely.
Yeah.
For certain roles, particularly in more technical areas like cloud computing and specific AI software,
Yeah.
having relevant certifications can be a real asset.
Right.
So it's worth researching whether those certifications exist in your target area
Mm-hmm.
and what kind of value employers typically place on them.
Okay, so one thing that the sources really, really emphasized, and I think it's so important, is getting hands-on experience.
Yes.
Because you can watch all the videos, you
Right.
can read all the articles,
Yeah.
but it's not quite the same.
Exactly. While passive learning, it has its place.
Mm-hmm.
True understanding
Mm-hmm.
and the ability to really apply those skills, that comes from doing.
Right.
The advice is clear. You need to get your hands dirty.
Okay.
Try using those free versions of the AI tools.
Yeah.
Work on personal projects where you can incorporate AI
Mm-hmm.
and if it's relevant to your field, even contributing to open source projects related to AI.
Okay.
So, for example, if you're going for a role that involves like prompt engineering,
Right.
spend time experimenting with different large language models.
Yeah.
Keep track of what you're doing, what the results are,
Mm-hmm.
and start building a portfolio of effective prompts that you've created.
Okay. What about those more intensive learning options, like the
Yeah.
workshops and boot camps?
Yeah. Those could be really valuable. They offer a more immersive learning experience
Okay.
and often a much faster track to acquiring specific skills.
Right.
But they can also be a significant investment of both time and money.
Yeah.
So it's really crucial to carefully vet them.
Right.
Look at the curriculum. Who are the instructors? What are their backgrounds?
Mhm.
And what kinds of outcomes do graduates of that program typically achieve?
Okay.
Do your homework before you commit.
And the sources also talk about the importance of connecting with other people
Yep.
who are also learning about this stuff or working in the AI space.
Yeah, building a network.
Yeah.
Engaging with a community of people
Right.
is so valuable.
So join online forums like you mentioned, the Reddit communities. Word Official, our prompt engineering. Those are great examples.
Yeah.
Look for local meetups.
Yeah.
Focused on AI in your industry or join relevant professional organizations.
Exactly. Connecting with others gives you that opportunity to learn from their experiences.
Yeah.
Ask questions and stay up to date.
Right. Right. Now, I mean, for a lot of people who have lost their job because of AI, this idea of becoming an AI developer, it can seem like a pretty huge leap.
Oh, yeah.
But the sources suggest that a more accessible and often a very valuable path is in just working with AI.
Yeah.
So what exactly does that involve?
That's a good point, because you don't necessarily need to become a full-blown machine learning engineer.
Right.
Working with AI is more about becoming this highly skilled user
Right.
of the AI tools and technologies within your existing area of expertise.
Right.
So it involves a few key areas.
Okay.
First, there's prompt engineering.
Okay.
Learning how to effectively communicate with those large language models and other generative AI to get specific and desirable outputs.
Right.
Second,
Yeah.
there's developing that proficiency with the relevant AI tools,
Okay.
mastering those specific AI applications
Yeah.
that are important in your field, whether that's marketing automation, design assistance, coding help,
Right. Whatever
Right.
it here you're
Exactly.
Yeah.
Third, there's data literacy,
Okay.
understanding how to interpret the data and the insights that these AI tools generate.
Okay.
Fourth, there's critical evaluation, which is all about being able to assess the quality, the potential biases,
Yeah.
and the limitations of AI-generated content and insights.
Right.
And finally, it's about workflow integration,
Okay.
figuring out how to seamlessly incorporate these AI tools into your existing work processes
Right.
to be more efficient
Yeah.
and more productive.
Okay, so you've upskilled,
Right.
you've focused your learning. Now comes the often daunting task of re-entering the job market.
Right.
But here's the thing. You can actually use AI to help with that too.
Absolutely. That irony that we talked about at the beginning,
Yeah.
it really comes full circle here.
Yeah.
You can, and in many cases, you really should leverage these AI tools to give your job search a boost.
Okay.
So let's start with the basics.
Yeah.
Your resume and your cover letter.
And how can AI be helpful there? Because I mean, I always feel like those need a really personal touch.
They do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
And that human oversight is absolutely critical,
Right.
as we'll talk about.
Okay.
But AI can be a really powerful starting point
Okay.
and a real time saver.
Okay.
You can paste your current resume and a job description you're interested in into a large language model and ask it to identify those key skills and keywords that the employer is looking for,
Right.
and can suggest ways you could tailor your resume
Okay.
to highlight that experience.
All right.
It can also help you draft different sections of your resume
Okay.
or cover letter.
Yeah.
It can help you overcome writer's block.
Yeah.
You can even use it to create those concise professional summaries or objective statements.